Has your opinion of Brock Purdy changed after this? I'm going to call it a meltdown. 4 interceptions, whether or not they were his fault. He had a couple that were dropped. I thought it was a meltdown. What do you think? Has your opinion changed?
No, I don't think so. But I also wasn't screaming from the rooftops that he's a top 5 quarterback or any of those things. So no, my opinion hasn't changed. I think Brock's good. I don't think that this game is who Brock is permanently. I'm not worried about Brock going forward. I don't think that he's just going to melt down and become a terrible quarterback because of this game. I think that Brock is fine, but I also don't think he's elite. So for me, no, my opinion has not changed of Brock. I think that he's good. I think this team can win a Super Bowl with him, and I think he'll be fine going forward. But overall, I think that maybe some of the talk has cooled down around Brock as far as what he is right now, what he eventually will be. Maybe some people's opinions have cooled, and that's okay too. I get it. It's Johnny come lately. This league is a week to week league. It's a year to year league. And when you come off of a bad game, it makes sense that people might change their opinion of Brock Purdy. Me personally, I haven't changed my opinion at all, though.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying this during his winning streak. Like, look, he's a damn good quarterback, but I don't consider him elite. And my dad was pressing me on that. Like, what's the difference? Like, isn't he a top 5 quarterback? Like, no, I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback. I'm not sure that he's a top 10 quarterback. He might be. He's perfect for this system. But I think what this game did for my opinion of Brock Purdy is it refined it. Like now, if he's going against a great defense that has great linebackers and safeties, I'm worried about him. Like not just like he might lose the game, like he might throw a lot of picks. Because I keep trying to figure out why did he throw so many picks in training camp? He wasn't working on stuff. Something was going on. Well, he was going against a great defense with great linebackers. He wants to throw over the middle. Fred Warner's there. Good luck. So he was doing other things that he wasn't as comfortable with, and the interceptions were piling up. That happened against Baltimore. Happened against Cleveland. So I just wonder with him going forward, like, and again, there's not that many defenses that have this combination of players anyway. But that's a bad matchup for Brock.
We're having the same. It's interesting because I feel like we're having some of the same conversations that we did during that losing streak, and particularly that Cleveland game. Because really, when you look at Brock and what he's done all season, he played pretty well for big chunks of that Minnesota game, as well as the Bengals game.
Yes,
right? He definitely threw the interceptions, and you can't overlook that per se.
The Cleveland game when he was bad for a long time.
That was the one. Yeah, that was the one where that was the anomaly compared to the rest of the season, and even those other 2 losses. But now it's happened again.
And Baltimore have in common.
Yeah, well, they can get home with 4. That's 1. Mm-hmm. They have great back ends of their defense. That's 2, and so they can keep up. But when you look at it, and I said it then. And I think everybody agrees, and we're going to say the same thing now. There's just not many teams that can do this. Is there a blueprint to stop Brock in this offense? Yeah, maybe if you have elite players all over the defense. So not many teams can do this.
What I think is interesting, you don't necessarily need elite defensive linemen because he's elusive. The ball comes out quickly. You need elite coverage, linebackers, safety, corners. All of them have to be elite. If there's one weakness, Kyle Shanahan and Brock are going to find it. And the Niners have a weapon at every single position that they don't let you off the hook. But Cleveland and Baltimore have studs at linebacker, safety, corner, and they can really cover the Niners' weapons. And all of a sudden, Brock has to be that game changer that Cam said he's not. And maybe he will prove that he is in the playoffs, but in this game, he wasn't. Well, he was a game changer in a bad way.
Yeah, and in the opposite direction. Yeah, I mean, Kyle Shanahan's really built this offense to exploit linebackers, and he's done it since day one. The moment that Juszczyk was brought in, you kind of saw the picture of what it was they were trying to do. And then they went and got McKinnon, and you're like, okay. Mm-hmm. He thinks that there's a weakness of linebackers in the NFL. That is the way to exploit defenses, and he's done a fantastic job with it, and they continue to do that. They really put linebackers in conflict. Not just with running backs and tight ends and the fullback, play action, running deep digs, in routes. Everything is in breaking and putting them in conflict. But when you do have the good linebackers that have safeties over the top that can really help out as well, it makes that very, very hard. And quite frankly, Kyle Hamilton is he's in a league of his own right now. He's the
Yep.
best. He should be DPOY. He really should. A performance like that, it felt like there was 3 of them on the field. He was everywhere, absolutely everywhere.
They have Marlon Humphrey on the outside who can also play in the slot.
Played fantastic as well.
Yeah. So look, I think that's a good. It's interesting because the Niners have such a good supporting cast. And people say, how much is it Brock? How much is it everyone else? Well, when you face a team like Cleveland or Baltimore, it's more of an even playing field. Like, yeah, the Niners are great. That's the best defense in the league. They match up. So I think that you see a little bit, Brock gets isolated more. And I'm not saying he's this that we saw in Baltimore or he's what we saw against Cleveland, but it's concerning that he could play that poorly against those defenses.
What I think it does do is for me, when you watch someone week in and week out perform the way that Brock has, and in a good way, it makes you question, like, man, because I see this a little bit differently as far as who he is. You start to really question your acumen. Do I really know what's going on here? Because this kid is playing phenomenal, but I don't necessarily think he's that guy. And then when you have a game like this, it's like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not crazy.
Okay,
maybe
so
I'm not taking crazy pills.
Because you were at training camp too, like you saw that. It's like, what was that? Oh, okay. Yeah. It's like if he was facing the Ravens every day in training camp, it would look like this. Because as good as Brock is, his clear limitations that only certain defenses can exploit. I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, isolate. I mean, only certain defenses can take advantage of happening. Yeah,
yeah. Eagles weren't one. Cowboys weren't one.
No,
I don't think the Rams are one. No, but they exist. Are the Chiefs one? They have a really good defense. I'm not really sure about their linebackers.
Yeah, they have very, very, very good linebackers. Very good secondary. Yeah, they might be one.
That's another one. It's like Mahomes is having a tough year and no one can catch his passes, but the Niners will let you scramble them to death on offense as a quarterback.
It's true.
And if you have a really great defense, Brock Purdy has had some troubles. He'll shred a mediocre defense. He'll shred a bad defense. Just wait to see what he does to Washington this week. But that's not the
yeah, he's going to go off against Washington. That's for sure going to happen.